Thank you so much. I feel like I have to say brother in, because you can't
Live local,
hear that and now just
think
say in.
global.
You have to say
No
thank you,
platform.
brother in. You know, we said we will be instructed, right? We said we will be inspired, right? We will hear insightful things, and no, the response just said it all. Thank you so much, sir. Our next speaker is Audrey Joe-Ezigbo. Audrey is the Deputy Managing Director of Falcon Corporation International Limited, one of Nigeria's leading energy and trading companies, where she co-founded with her husband in 1994. She's an accomplished professional with multiple degrees in finance, marketing, business administration, management and leadership from prominent institutions such as University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Lagos Business School, Harvard Business School, and the SA Business School. Audrey is a chartered member of the International Gas Union and a fellow of the Energy Institute of Nigeria, the chartered professional membership body of global energy experts. She's the first female president of the Nigerian Gas Association, the umbrella association and voice for businesses and professionals involved in the Nigerian gas industry. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. A warm platform welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to you all. My deepest respects to Pastor Boju and Mrs. Toyi Boju-Oyemade, people that I've actually admired and respected long before they knew I existed, which was just a couple of weeks ago. Oh yes, I actually remember, Pastor Boju, I was so excited when you were getting married. I had to ask myself, but he doesn't even know you. And this is because I had followed the trajectory of someone who started with simplicity, but passion and dedication to the kingdom. So God bless you, sir. God bless you. I'm very happy that the platform today is focused on how to build and scale sustainable businesses, because you see, in any national economic development agenda, we must allow business have its voice, because business does speak. So I want them to put up my first slide, please. And this is CocaCola, who is operating. Yes, thank you, I can see it now. Now, there is no way we talk about global brands without talking about Coca-Cola. They are practically the world's largest beverage company. They have a presence in over 200 countries. And when they do their reviews, they attribute this success to what they call their Think Global, Act Local agenda, the strategy they adopted in the year 2000. I thought it was important to start here because in exactly 34 days, it will mark 28 unbroken years that I opened my doors for business. And the two companies that I held at that point as my benchmarks, Coca-Cola was one, the other being Mercedes-Benz. Now, second slide. A couple of weeks ago, Nigerians were not easy. A couple of weeks ago, Nigerians went agog on social media as Chicken Republic unveiled its chicken star meal. And first, egg star, sorry. And the comments, some of them were really brutal. You people are so intelligent, wow. And I just thought, though, that in the context of today's theme, actually, this is a Nigerian brand that has been here for almost 20 years now, as at last count has almost 140 locations, and has a target to set, I think they said 420 by 2024. So they're actually a phenomenal example of a company that is thinking globally and acting within the local context. And I wanted us to start from there, because in a lot of what I'm going to be saying, it's about the mind and how we embrace this concept and filter it into our own realities. So I'm not here to do a lot of data analysis, but I'm going to be sharing some words that all begin, coincidentally, with the letter C. And my first word is clarity. Clarity. It is said that questions are the currency of the future. And that means that for us to be future ready, we must always be asking ourselves questions. And so in preparing for today's session, I actually stepped back and started to ask myself some questions. And I asked myself, Audrey, what was the environment of business like in 1994 when you started? What did you know about GDP, growth rates, and inflation, population demographics, and the like? What did you really know about the direction of government spending and the like? I started to look at, all those things, and when you check the metrics, it seems perhaps that at that point in time, Nigeria was in a better place, or were we really? I started to ask myself, what was your oil and gas industry like at that point in time? And a few things were very evident. There was a high level of corruption, maybe not as overt as it is today, but it was there nonetheless. There were community agitations. I remember when I came in was the whole Ogoni saga that led eventually to the killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa. I remember that as a young Nigerian businesswoman, the first question anybody would ask me is, where are your foreign technical partners? Like I didn't have capacity in myself. I remember that there were too many agencies, too many taxes. And then, who can still relate with this one? Nobody wants to give you work because you need experience, and you're trying to tell them, excuse me, I need experience, I need the job to gain the experience. Go figure. So here's the thing. And that's the question I then asked. When we say that it is more difficult to start a business in Nigeria today, are we really selling the right narrative? I put it to you, dear people of Nigeria, that from the point of view of the entrepreneur, the person who is starting the business, the person who is running the business, it is as difficult in 2022 as it was in 1994. And I align this with, the narrative around the good old days. If there's any Gen Z in this room and you're talking good old days, they don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't align with their current context. They don't make their decisions, they don't shape their actions and strategies around the thing you used to tell them, how you went to school and food was free, and all those things. It doesn't mean anything to them. And why do I want to put this on the table? Because, like I said, it's about the mind. I think that for any future forward entrepreneur in this year, we have to be very careful the things that we internalize so that we're not walking around with some funny cloud of negativity that then constrains our ability to be creative in today's context. So whether we like it or not, most of us in this room, we are willing victims of what is called confirmation bias, and PP spoke to that earlier. A situation where we just resonate with the kind of data and information that is more readily available. The problem with confirmation bias is that it constrains your thinking, and it also reduces your willingness to press past challenges and seek to make a difference. And here's the thing. Some psychologists actually say that confirmation bias is like you trying to find this balance between justifying yourself and seducing others to your opinion. So it's very comfortable for us to just go around and say, Nigeria, now wow, this country, you have to be your own local government, blah, blah, blah. And that's all we're seeing. And yet in this country, we are seeing unicorns being birthed in the same context. So I submit to you that those who are going to win first in their minds. That's what I want to put out there first. So my company is still here after almost 28 years, and this is because, we had a global outlook from the beginning, like I said. If you've heard me speak, you've heard me say something that I looked at it sounds funny, but very true, and I asked myself, the people that formed CocaCola, Mercedes-Benz, honestly, I don't have their recent pictures, but I'm sure none had two heads. And I also said to myself, because I work with my husband, that these were family businesses that have now transcended generations and have a global impact significantly. So if they could do it, I certainly can. What do you see in your mind when you think about your business? And the reason I thought it was good to start with the clarity conversation is because we have a tendency to focus on the issues. I want to encourage us today, can we start to look at outcomes? What are the imperatives? We have a tendency to focus on the things that bind us, the things that constrain us, whereas all around us are a multitude of opportunities. Between globalization, digitization, changing demographics, and the different evolutions the pandemic has brought about how we live and work, opportunities are literally beckoning. A prayer my coach taught me to pray, she said, every night when you go to bed, ask God to give you innovative ideas that are relevant for the context of your industry or economy. It's in the mind. Now, getting past confirmation bias also means that many of us have to stop looking at information that confirms this thing and start looking for this disconfirming information as well. Disconfirming information is when you're asking yourself about the Flutterwaves and Dellas, about, hey, did any of you hear that Iganmu is now in Canada? So that we stop calling only the tech guys. Like literally, people are taking territory across various sectors of industry. So rather than focusing on all the businesses that fail, and there are many, why don't you look for those that have succeeded and are now going across the region, going across different countries? See, our reality today is that we live in a landscape that has many moving parts. But it's always been like that, hasn't it? And I said it's about questions. It's really always been like that. So you see that, like I said, consumer preferences are changing. In Nigeria alone, we have such a huge youth population, and this affects the market. How is your business evolving to adapt to that? The regulatory space is changing, sometimes for good, sometimes for confusion. Now, competition has evolved. You, the entrepreneur, you have evolved. So the technology landscape has also shifted, even right here in Nigeria. So many of the things that we think are problems, they are location agnostic. And it's important for us to get past that so that we can then look at what kind of local adaptations do I need to do to ensure my business and economy prospers under my watch. And this brings me to the next word that I have, and that is one of congruence. So congruence sets us in that place of globalization, where we recognize that the walls have come down. The things that bound trade across boundaries, across territories, they've been taken away. This is our reality. And what this means, therefore, is that for any entrepreneur today, you must be thinking about what are the sociocultural nuances that I need to then factor in? What are the general standards of quality, of acceptability, and broad appeal of my products and services if I'm to transcend this space that I'm used to? You have to be thinking about that. And this is important for us as a nation, if I would situate it in the Nigeria context, because we have huge problems. Unemployment and so on and so forth. So we need to see more entrepreneurs come to the fore. Not just creating businesses that generate employment, but I would dare say more specifically that you need to be challenging yourself to ask, what kind of value add can I create that has a high export potential? Because we also need to diversify the country's revenue base. And when I talk about value adding, already you begin to think of the multiplier effect in terms of things like employment, the same employment that we're talking about. It is therefore important that you're able to position yourself to compete on a global scale. The nation benefits from that. What are the challenges we hear? Because you see, recently we found that Nigerians, we have a very high level of appreciation like never before for our own products and services. Whether you're talking about comedy or you're talking about music or food or fashion, we have learned to applaud ourselves. Am I right? Yes. But what are the things that we hear complained about? Is the standards, is quality, is the delivery and customer service, the after-sales support, and outright fraud sometimes. We have to recreate this narrative, and it's going to happen because of those of us who are in the room or listening online. So congruence brings you to that place where you literally understand, I can't play local anymore. That local and global have come together, and the metrics for building any business that will be successful, that will scale and be sustainable, profitably so, because we need the profit to make the impact, is going to need me to pay attention to what does it take in the first place to build a thriving business. Because I think Nigeria should be tired of mom and pop stores. We need to see industrial giants. And I repeat, none of them was formed by anyone with two heads. So you can do it, and I can do it. So what is it that we can look at in successful businesses that have allowed them to facilitate the kind of industrialization and standard of living that we see in some of the countries that we admire? One of the things I thought I would touch on is vision. Because you really can't overspeak, or if there's such a word, you can't talk too much about the vision element. Vision is what allows you to see beyond the majority. And I thought to ask those of us who are entrepreneurs in this room a few questions. Please answer them for yourself. One, what is your vision for your business? But because your business is situated in this country, let me ask you, how does your business vision align with the developmental imperatives for Nigeria today and the Nigeria of the future? In essence, what I'm asking you is, how does the vision of your business situate itself in nation building? Because that's a huge question. Listen, Nigeria right now is in the need of very bold, solution-oriented, nationalistic businesses. All of us can't jabao. No. We can't. We can't. So I read something, and I'm going to quote. It says that if your vision is not helping others, it's not vision, it's ambition. And ambition is what you want to become. It's about you. But vision is about God's plan for your life, and it's always about others. Let me just kind of paraphrase that a bit. And so what I wrote down is this, putting the Nigeria context. If your vision is not helping Nigeria, it is not vision, it is personal ambition. It is ambition about what you want to become because of your business. It's about you. It's about the title you want to hold. It's about the wealth and the positioning, the authority, the power you want to command in Nigeria. But your business vision actually should be God's vision for that business and God's vision for the Nigeria He's situated you in. Because if that is the vision, then it benefits not just you, it benefits this country. In extension, it benefits Africa and the world. So when you want to build a successful business, like I said, some things are location agnostic, some things you can't compromise. Building a successful business, the kind that can scale and transcend generations, means that you want to focus on institutionalization. You want to focus on depersonalizing your business, letting go of the personal fiefdoms. Oga mentality will not kill you and I. You need to be thinking, how can I make this bigger than who I am? Right? And institutionalization, it demands for you to put in place very efficient and effective systems, structures, procedures, policies, right? Governance frameworks to run your business. So it's not all about how you woke up and felt that morning, you take a decision and run. No, that's not how we build institutions that outlast us. It requires that your strategies are well articulated, ready to address the market, and in today's context, that they are flexible enough, they are malleable enough to adapt to the changing dynamics. Because strategy of 5 years now, it's not that simple anymore. You must be constantly testing. Of course, you know that for us, we're talking about global context. So building this kind of sustainable business, global standards in my business, in my industry, for similar businesses across different climes. You're asking yourself, what are the operational best practices? You're asking yourself, what are the kind of risks, not just inherent in my environment, but because I want to expand and have a broader reach. What are the inherent risks in cross-border transactions, for instance? It's not easy. But the reality is that if we have more of our business people and entrepreneurs that recognize that if they do the grind, they put in the tenacity required, we can literally build a lot of formidable businesses that then transform our nation and economy. And this brings me to my next word, which is conviction. Conviction. So in the arena of conviction is us understanding that nothing good, nothing lasting comes easy. Conviction is what you require in today's climate, especially in this country where we're seated, if you're going to throw in your all into the ring and have staying power. It's conviction that is going to allow a business or business person cross that divide between the idea generation, the viability assessment, and then get past all the hurdles into focused action, because we need action. So it is in a place of situating your business within this national agenda and with a global outlook that you can make some kinds of strategic decisions. For instance, around people. If you don't have a global outlook, you will never train your people because you're going to buy into this narrative that, if you train them, they leave. We hear it, right? Some of us even say it. But you want to build an agile workforce of global thinkers and people that have the kind of capacity to continue to run the business even if you're not there. Indeed, perhaps they can run it better than you. 3 times over the course of my business, I took a decision to hire people and pay them higher salaries and higher benefits than myself because I wanted to take on higher territories, go for more sophisticated projects. I wasn't interested in being madam. I was interested in the win. Are you able to situate yourself such that your outlook is so big that it's not about, no, I'm the boss, and so I have to be boss of all? And of course, never letting go of training. So conviction also brings us to the arena of discussing tenacity of purpose. How tenacious are you? And a refusal, especially in the environment we're operating, a refusal to reduce your standard, to compromise. Again, because we're God's ambassadors in the marketplace, right? So you're thinking always about ethics. You're thinking about integrity. You're thinking about corporate governance. You're not going around saying, after all, what is the government doing? Why should I pay tax? That's not the language of a global thinker. So we have to be very careful with these things. Now, when you think about this conviction, too, it also informs those that you take on as your partners and as your collaborators in the course of growing your business. You don't do business with just anyone. When you're convinced about what you're trying to do and you know where the outcome is and you know that you're having a global benchmark, you want to be able to attract and be attractive to investors from outside. You're also then very careful about who you partner with. It's not just a case of let's make money. There is something that is deeper at any point in time. So in my view, conviction is a heart and mind connect. And while we're talking about it, a global outlook is also a heart and mind issue. For those who are already fixed on doing things the right way, who have a commitment to excellence and best practices and integrity, those who are mindful that they're representing God in the marketplace, a global outlook is not a difficult sell. And this takes us to the place of resilience. So there was a study done by somebody called D. Kotu, and he talked about the characteristics of highly resilient people. I read it and I thought, this guy doesn't even know he's describing Nigerians. So 2 things that he said. He said, first of all, they have a staunch acceptance of reality, that they can look at any difficult situation for what it is, without exaggerating it, without catastrophizing it, and without denial. And then he also said that they are quick to analyze, accept the reality, and then figure the way forward. And he used the example of Admiral Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war in Vietnam for about 7 years, who said that the only reason he survived was that he just stared his reality in the face and said, oh boy, we're here. Please go back to the last slide. I'm not moving yet. And then the second thing he said was that resilient people, highly resilient people, that they have this uncanny ability to improvise and make the most of what they have. They put together the resources that are available to them, and then they use them in innovative ways. Does this not sound like the spirit of Nigeria? So he now says, and I quote, resilience is not stubbornness. It requires a psychological agility, a flexible mind, an openness to creative solutions, and a broad repertoire of actions we can take to then resolve our conflicts and problems. So yes, Nigeria, we need more resilient entrepreneurs in the marketplace because we sure do have those challenges. And then this brings me to the next C, which is courage. Because you can't be talking resilience outside of courage, can you? Otherwise, just a nice buzzword. So when we begin to think about thinking globally and acting locally, we have to take our environmental context and see the alignment with the global context. Unfortunately, when we look at the environmental context, many times what do we see? What do we see? As entrepreneurs, or as Nigerians generally, but let me speak to the business people, we see infrastructure deficits. So we see inadequacies in road and transportation that impinges on our logistics and adds to our costs. Right? We see the breaking down of our educational sector. This is now affecting the quality of people we're able to attract and retain. So chicken and egg is a problem for us any which way. We see a lot of insecurity so that your assets, both the human and otherwise, you're always like, insurance is a must for any serious business person in today's climate. But my brothers and sisters, I still maintain that these are the things that other people have seen, are living in, and they're pressing past to success. So I want to ask us all to remember this, that self-preservation cannot be your default position if you're an entrepreneur. It cannot be. It can't. You can't abandon ship. You have to be part of the solution. So I got into the gas business because I came in contact with a gas flare. Never heard of any such thing in my life. I knew there was oil, had no clue. But by the time I got to the understanding about there's this fire burning endlessly, and imagining that people have to live there. Imagine the health impacts. Imagine what it's doing to the economy around there. And I was able to then situate myself in the solution. We were burning billions of dollars in revenue that could have been used to transform Nigeria. So it's just one thing to look and say, oh my sheo. It's another thing to decide to get in there. And this is where, in a situation where, how old was I then? And I saw the problem. My husband and I talked about it. We pressed in headlong. We were competing with international companies in a time when everybody wanted you to have a foreign technical partner. We had nothing, no money, no nothing. But we saw a win for Nigeria. Remember, I said it's first in the mind. So what Nigeria needs now from you is looking at the problems and seeing how you can be part of the solution. And believe me, that solution will demand you to be brave in the face of the odds. The next thing I want to speak about then is capacity. Capacity is key. And I say that it's key, especially in our current context, because we have too many people who succeed at some level, and then they are very happy. Because now you get you walk into a hall, they want to carry your bag. You walk into a hall, everybody's calling you sir. You walk into your office and you decide what happens, and we're happy. A few cars parked in the house, living in some place or the other, travel a couple of times a year, and we think we have made it when the country is breaking down and bleeding. Capacity means that we're looking at how we constantly upskill as entrepreneurs. Not just our people. This is not about your people. How about you? How are you building capacity? Even if it is knowledge and information, it's the adoption of technology, building of relationships that can facilitate the growth of your industry. I didn't go into the Nigerian Gas Association because I wanted to be a cute president. I went there because I saw that there was a huge problem in my industry, and I needed to be part of solving it. What are you doing in your own industry? What global benchmarks are you looking at? How things are done in other climes that you can build some knowledge capacity around and bring back into your organization, into your industry. It's very important because we're talking global context. Because of time, I'm going to move on. Collaborations is the next word that I have. And it's very closely related to this capacity conversation. So I saw a news item recently that says that intra-Africa trade is just at 13%. And this compares very unfavorably with 60%, 40%, and 30% interregional trade that is happening across Europe and North America and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So when you think about Nigeria, we know we have a high level of import dependency, right? And you know that the bulk of our exports are actually oil, right? Now, I started to think that that means that even though we're doing all this importation, we're not even trading with ourselves on the continent. Like, we're literally taking our limited resources and going to better someone else's economy. What does this mean, therefore? It means that today's context about thinking globally but acting locally should then open up the conversation for you about who am I collaborating with? Who can I partner with? Why is my business only in Lagos? Can I transact with Katsina? Why is my business only in Nigeria? Can I do business with Ghana? Can I go across the continent? Because we need to build capacity. So this is a climb where we want to be thinking about, again, the quality, the standards, the value of your products and services. How can you upgrade this so that those same things we import are readily available here and we can take the market across Africa? Of course, it's not going to be easy. You and I know this, but who is looking for easy? If you're looking for easy, there's the door. Now, thinking global, living local. We need to see those partnerships, right? We need to see more mergers and acquisitions. I think that this is the time where you want to say to yourself, where are the opportunities in my territory and who can I partner with to do this? Must I go it alone? Your challenge is to raise funding. Must you go it alone? Can you find 2, 3, 4 organizations that offer the same service and come together to take on an opportunity? A few years ago, the word co-opetition came out. This is a collaboration with your competition. We need to see more of this across Africa, and I think that this is the time for us to be having those conversations. I'm in one such transaction myself, and it's amazing the things that you're then able to do that you couldn't have done just with your own business. So why is this important again? Let's look at 1 or 2 things. First and foremost, the area of tech. We've talked about this a lot. Technology has transformed the way we do life. It has transformed the way that we do business. It has created new commercial and productive activities. And the World Bank did a study. They said that the digital space, digital economy, actually now accounts for about 15.5% of GDP. And not just that, but it's actually grown about 2.5 times faster than the GDP, global GDP has grown in the last 15 years. And there's another study that said that if we were to increase mobile penetration across Africa by just 10%, we can see a 2.5% increase in GDP. Question, How will Nigeria be situated in the increase in GDP in Africa if our business people are not coming from a global context? In the face of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, how are you situating your business, your products, your services to be of value and to mine that opportunity in partnership with others within and outside of Nigeria? So there is a need for this. The other thing to look at perhaps would be on the environmental front. Maybe some of us have not been hit, but some of us have actually lost funding opportunities and business partnerships because everybody is now discussing the green economy. Everybody is now discussing clean energy. And until recently, my core product, gas, was not considered to be clean. And so people walk away from your deal that you've mined for how many years? But everybody is now asking ESG. ESG, ESG. This is the conversation in the world around partnerships, around funding. If you try to grow and scale your business and you haven't yet started to dimension the ESG elements of your business, there's a big problem there. So you have to start thinking about it. And we have some companies like Mitimeth, Cyrus Factory, WeCycler, so many of them who have gone wholeheartedly into recycling and upcycling. So perhaps the call for us as entrepreneurs is to rethink that waste part of our business, or perhaps to go into partnerships with them. Maybe put our money behind them so that they can scale. There is also a social imperative I'll quickly touch on. That we're a nation, as I said earlier, a burgeoning youth population, and they're largely unemployed. So there's nowhere for them to channel their energies, their initiatives, their creativity and passions. But more worrisome, my people, is that there's nowhere for them to channel their many, many frustrations at a system that has tended to fail them. I think that it is important for us to begin to collaborate, to build bigger businesses that can begin to absorb more of these young people and create the multiplier effects across the value chain that makes for not just more employees, but more entrepreneurs, and the cycle continues to oil itself. And this brings me to my last point. That of convergence, which, could also be the conclusion of the matter. So I hear somebody say, okay, but I don't know if you've specifically told us what to do. Actually, I think that I have. Yeah, because I said that I'm not going to be doing data, I'm not telling you 10 steps. I just want to challenge your thinking. I said I want to talk about principles. I said that we win first in the mind. I said that it's important for us not to focus on the challenges. I said it's important for you, if you are a business person in this country, that you must be asking yourself, how do I situate myself in the national developmental agenda? There is this expression we have, very popular. If I say it, everybody will laugh. We die here. And you know what? I wanted to end with this, because it all comes back to the table. All these different things I've said. The convergence is that it brings us back to right where we started from. How are we going to be part of recreating the Nigerian narrative? We die here, right? I want to challenge you, because this is a statement of loyalty. It's a statement of commitment, and ultimately, it's an affirmation of belief in this country, isn't it? Or in your pastor, or in your organization, or in your mentor, whatever. But like I said, the Nigeria context, we die here. My last question. Ladies and gentlemen, can we perhaps press past, do our bit, do the grind, get past the challenges, so that we can recreate this place where we plan to die, such that while we live, we can at least enjoy it. A lot of speakers are going to say many, many things. There's still a couple of us left, right? And you've been making notes. Some people have Instagram, this and that, great. But the most important thing that you do with new information, new insights, new perspectives, whatever, new knowledge, is to ask yourself 3 things. So this is not my question to you, it's your question to yourself. 1, how can I use this? And that's the creativity conversation. Everything that I hear today, how am I going to take it on board and change the thing that I do? Secondly, why must I use this? It is said that applied knowledge is power. Nigeria becomes more powerful when we take these things that we hear and we go back to our own spaces and we determine to make a difference, and we actually take action. And lastly, you ask yourself, when will I use this? I heard something recently. It says that the opportunity of a lifetime must be used in the lifetime of the opportunity. Nigeria, the opportunity is now. Thank you.
Is powered by the Covenant Nation.